I think we have a parenting pandemic.
The problem with parenting now is y'all want to be friends. You can be friendly, but your child is not, that is not your friend. That is your child, then / can be friend.
I fear that modern parenting is less accountable, less interested in creating consequences for their children. We are in a generation of parenting that is not willing to have children face consequences and ramifications for their actions, and I think that's our issue.
Problem is parents want to be kids and do all sorts of other shit besides parenting, and so they didn't have time, so they throw the fucking iPad and the phone to be their fucking partner in parenting. Well, guess what? If you have a partner, you have a partner. But you're in control. The phone's not alive. You can throw that shit in the fucking water.
We got parents right now who are terrified of their own children. Not toddlers, not teenagers, grown adults, 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds, and their parents are walking on eggshells in their own house, afraid to say the wrong things, afraid to set up boundaries, afraid to be a parent because they do not want to lose the relationship. Gary Vee says something that I have been thinking about ever since I heard it. He said parents want to be friends instead of parents. And I want to react to that today because I think he is onto something real. But I also think there's a piece of this conversation that he is missing. And that piece is the parents sitting in my community right now who did not choose this, who did not try to be a friend, who tried to be a parent and still lost their child anyway. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this. So Gary Vee, all right? Gary Vee is this guy. He's very, very animated, but he gets straight to the point. And Gary Vee's point is this. This generation of parents got so focused on being liked by their children that they forgot their job was to prepare them for real life. They negotiated instead of decided, right? They apologized instead of held the line. They made every boundary a conversation and every consequence optional. And they raised adults who never learned that the world does not bend for them. Adults who never developed the tolerance for discomfort that real life requires. Adults who hit their first real obstacle, a hard conversation, an expectation they do not like, a boundary that does not move, and they called it abuse. And I agree with that partially, because here's what Gary Vee is talking about. He is talking about the parent who let their kid run the house, the parent who never said no because no made the child cry and the crying made the parent uncomfortable. The parent who gave everything the child wanted and then wondered why the child became someone who expects everything without earning it. That parent exists. I have seen that parent. That pattern is real. But here's where I want to add to what Gary said, because Gary does not have the full picture. He doesn't have the full picture, right? I want to get to the other side. There is another parent in this conversation that nobody is talking about. The parent who was not afraid to parent, who set boundaries, who said no, who had standards and expectations and held them, who showed up every single day and did the work. And that parent is still estranged. Because sometimes it is not about being a pushover. Sometimes the estrangement happens because of outside influence. A spouse who slowly built a wall. A therapist who validated every grievance without hearing both sides. A culture that handed young adults a vocabulary, toxic, narcissist, trauma, and told them that using it to cut off a parent was called healing. So when Gary Vee says parents are afraid to be parents, I want to add to this. Some parents were not afraid at all. They parented hard. They loved hard. They held the line, and they still lost their child, not because they were weak, but because the world changed around them and nobody warned them what was coming. Both of those parents are in my comments right now. The one who admits they should have been tougher, and the one who was tough and still got left. And both of them deserve to be in this conversation. Now, let me say something that is going to be uncomfortable for some of you. If you are a parent who has been afraid to parent, hear me on this. It is not too late to change that. Not with a young child and not even with an adult child. Changing does not become hard. Changing does not mean becoming hard. It does not mean punishing. It means deciding that your job is not to be liked. Your job is to be real, to be consistent, to be the stable thing in your child's life, even when they do not appreciate it, even when they push back, even when they tell you that you are the problem. Love that has no foundation is not love. It is people pleasing. And people pleasing does not raise adults. It raises entitled children who become adults who have never been told no and do not know what to do when life finally says it. Gary Vee is right about that. But if you are the parents who did all the right things and still lost your child, I need you to hear something different. You are not the reason this happened. You cannot parent your way out of outside influence. You cannot love hard enough to overcome a spouse who is working against you or a therapist who only heard one side or a generation of content that told your child that cutting your parents off was self-care. What happened to you is not a parenting failure. It is a grief. And you deserve to treat it like one. Gary Vee sparked this conversation, and I'm glad he did. Because we need more people talking about what is happening to the family structure in this country. But the conversation does not end with entitlement and bad parenting. It's deeper than that. It goes into estrangement, into the grandparents being denied access to their grandchildren, into marriages breaking under the weight of a grief that has no name, and to parents who gave everything and got silence in return. That is what this channel is all about. The conversation that goes deeper than the highlight reels. The real talk that nobody else is willing to have. If this video hits something real for you, drop terrified in the comments right now. If you are a parent who wishes you had been tougher, drop that in the comments also. If you are a parent who was tough and still lost your child, drop that too. I want to hear from you because both of those stories matter. And this community holds both of them. Subscribe because we are just getting started. Don't forget we go lives on TikTok and on YouTube every week. Bring your real feelings. That is what we do here. You guys make sure you like, share, subscribe. I am Aaron and we're still standing and we are not done. You guys make sure you leave me a comment, like, follow, and share.